Guys, we're on page 236 of your student journal, section 8.5, measuring and constructing angles. How can you measure and classify an angle? Okay, the important thing here, how can we do this explore if we don't know these three definitions? Find the degree measure of each of the following angles. Classify each angle as acute, right, or obtuse. So I'm going to start off by giving you these definitions first. Acute, less than 90. Right, equals 90, and obtuse is greater than 90. So let's go and look at these. So the way you measure an angle is you start right where they tell you to. You start at A, you go to O, and then you go to B. It's like in exactly that order. So if I start off at A and I go to O, and when you start counting something, what number do you start at? Do you start at 0 or do you start at 180? That doesn't make any sense to start at 180, so we start at 0. So this straight line here is 0 degrees, or sorry, a straight line. Oh, okay, I'm just going to walk that back and just go back to AOB. So I'm going to go A to O to B. So each one of these ticks is what you're counting. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And you'll notice that starting from the right, it corresponds with these inside numbers. So if I'm going from A to O to B, that is between 30 and 40, and it is actually 35 degrees. And what is 35? Is it greater than 90, equal to 90, or less than 90? It's less than 90, so you call it acute. Now I'm going to go to, so what would a 90-degree angle look like? So AO, this would be a right angle. And you know, it will have a notation that looks like this, a little square. So it's easy if you understand this is 90, that everything before it has to be less than 90, and then everything greater than it, or past it, is greater than 90. So everything over here is acute, starting from A. Everything to the right of this green line right here is acute. And then if it goes exactly straight up, it's right angle, and if it goes to the left of this line right here, then it is obtuse. So AOC, this is between 60 and 70. 65, let's see, 60, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah. 65 is still less than 90, so we can call it acute. I will not categorize the other ones for you. I will let you think about, use these definitions. But AOD is 110 degrees. And AOE is 145 degrees. Okay. I'm going to erase these for now. Oops. And I'm actually going to jump to one of these. COE. Let's go COE. I'm working on this one right here. Let's go COE. So COE is very important to think about. So you could go like this. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, and so on until you get there. Or you could say, okay, well, what's my starting point? My starting point is 65, and I'm going all the way up until 145. So what is the distance between 65 and 145? Well, you could just subtract it, 145 minus 65, and you get 80. And let's see if that checks out when we start counting. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, 75, 80. Yes! And because this is less than 90, this is acute. So for COE, angle COE, it's 80 degrees and acute. Okay, hopefully that helps you. I'm moving on. But you should try and do A through H to see if you really get it or not. And if you're having difficulty with it, you should ask your teacher early on, because this is literally counting. So if you don't get it, then you should get it cleared up early on before you do any other problems. Let's see. Angle. What is an angle in my own words? Just the space between, I guess if I had to say it, like the space between two lines joined at a point. So two lines joined at a point, or two segments. Oops, not lines, because lines go on forever. Well, it could be a segment. Or, yeah. A vertex is the point where they meet. So the point where the angle is formed. Sides of an angle, well, I mean, that's kind of like it, right? Interior of an angle is interior versus exterior. And the measure of an angle is the interior. Acute, I already wrote it out, but we'll go over these definitions again just in case. An angle that's less than 90, an angle that's equal to 90, an angle that's greater than 90. A straight angle looks like this. Straight, just exactly what it sounds like, straight. And if you go back to the protractor above, or sorry, wait, what's the thing that measures angles called? Yeah, it's a protractor, I'm pretty sure. Protractor. Yeah, protractor. If you look at a straight angle earlier, then the circle picture looked like this. It was a half circle, and that is 180 degrees. So a straight angle is a straight line 180 degrees. And I technically should have that, the degree symbol. Congruent angles are angles that have the same measure. Angle bisector is anything that cuts an angle in half. Okay, moving on. Protractor Postulate. So this tool right here is called a protractor, and you can just, it basically says that you can measure, this is an angle ruler, a ruler for angles. The measure of AOB is, which can be written as measure of angle, that means angle, is equal to the absolute value of the difference. That means it's going to be positive, so you can't say an angle is ever negative. Between the real numbers matched with ray OA and OB on a protractor. So for instance, if I took it from 40 to 180, I'm using the outside numbers. The distance between 40 and 180 is 140. Or if I'm going from the right to the left, I can say the difference between, I'm going to use the inside numbers, 0 to 140 is also 140. So it doesn't matter when you're trying to find the angle, it doesn't matter whether you use the outside angles or the inside angles, as long as you are comparing them one to the other. So outside to outside or inside to inside. Types of angles, this is what they look like. Acute is less than 90. This is exactly 90. So less than, yeah, it's smaller. It's exactly half of a straight line, and obtuse is wider than that or bigger than that. And it's my bad. In my definition I gave you, I said greater than 90, but it actually has to also be less than 180, because if it was greater than 180, you would start measuring it from the other side. So go back to obtuse and say greater than 90 and less than 180 degrees. So this little thing right here is, the little circle is degrees, so you know you're working with angles. Okay. Angle addition. So this is kind of like, if I can break a chunk of a segment into like 5 and 2, then the whole segment is 7, right? Well, this angles work the same way, and these look like this looks like a bisector. So let's see. If I say this is 35, then this is also 35 because it looks like it's getting split in the middle. But the whole thing, angle RST, is 35 plus 35, which is 70. Measure of angle RST is equal to 70, and so I just added that. Yeah, that's it. It says you can add two small angles to make a bigger angle. Name 3 different angles. So this is an introductory section, so it should be pretty easy. But like I said, the way you start with an angle, it starts from one point, you go into the vertex, and then you go out to another point. So you have angle E, F, G. What other angle do we have? We have angle GFH. And another way of saying this, GFH, is saying HFG. It doesn't matter which one you start at. It refers to the same angle, which is the central, whichever letter is in the middle is where the angle is. So HFG, this is where the angle is referring to, or GFH, which are the same thing. HFG and GFH are the same angle. And the third different angle, so I can't say HFG because I already named it GFH. It's the same thing. But I can go EFH. That's a third angle. EFH. So one thing you got to keep in mind is you have to start off at the outside, not at the vertex of the angle, and the vertex of the angle is always in the middle. So the vertex is like where they meet. It's always in the middle. Okay, so I'll do one more example. QRT. That's an angle. QRT. And you have to find 2 other ones. TRS and QRS. Okay, moving on. Find measure JKL. JKL. So if JKL is these two added together. So you just have to add 31 and 85. Oops, 31 plus 85, 110, 116. 116 degrees. RSU, the whole thing is 91. And it's asking you to find RST, which is this small chunk, but the whole thing is 91, and this little bit is 69. So 69 plus unknown, angle RST, equals 91. Subtract 69, subtract 69, and I forgot to put the measure, but measure of angle RST is equal to, what is that, 21. Or sorry, 22 degrees. UWX is a straight angle, so how much is a straight angle? It's 180, right? So you have to add these two together to combine them. And it equals the whole angle. So this angle plus this angle equals the whole angle, 180. So you guys know how to do this. 2x plus 20, subtract 20, divide by 2. Okay, moving on. Find measure CAD. So if this is a right angle, what do these have to add up to? They have to add up to 90. So 5x plus 57 plus x plus 15 equals 90. And after you solve for x to find BAD, you will substitute the number back in for x here and there. And then, so you solve for x first, and then you substitute x back in there. E.g. bisects. What does that mean? By two sections. Bisects cuts in half, splits in two. Bisects DEF. Find DEG and GEF. So DEG. It's saying 92 is the whole thing. So if 92 is the whole thing, I have to split it in two, so I get 46 and 46. QR bisects PQS. So this is saying PQS, this whole thing is being cut in half. if it's half, what are they compared to each other? What is 46 compared to 46? They're equal, right? You have to say this: 4x minus 10 equals negative 3x plus 130. You solve for x, and then just like you did for number 7, you substitute. After you find x, you substitute back in here and here to find those two angles. And I do believe, yes, that is it for section 8.5. If you have any questions, ask your teacher or let me know.